Hi everyone, this is Professor Eric Lovell. I am your instructor for the Theories of Social Science course, ANSO 4400. Excited to have you here. This is with, I don't say this about every class. This is actually my favorite course to teach. I really do enjoy it. Um, it is a upper level course, so you'll expect to spend some time in some difficult readings, but we will have enough you know, exercises and reading guides and mini lectures to help you get through everything, and I promise there will be enough resources that you'll be able to understand what's going on. Um, but I just wanted to, it's okay to struggle in reading some of these texts. A lot of the texts we read are from the 1850s, but do not worry, we will have all the resources you need to make sure that you still get it and at least can progress through the course. So um, I love it. I love being able to rethink about how the way the world works and understand it in new and interesting ways. So I wanted to prepare an intro video that goes through the syllabus with you. As a reminder, this is an asynchronous online course. That means there are no required lectures or in-person meetings. However, in the first week, I will set up a poll to see when is the best time for an optional weekly check-in, where I will do a mini lecture that reviews the concepts from the week, but also provides a time for you to ask questions directly to me in real time. Okay. But otherwise, this is totally online. All of the resources are up there on Blackboard, ready for you to start. And I am available at any time to email questions, but also if you have want to meet, I'll show you how to get in contact with me. But first, let's start with the syllabus. So this is already up on Blackboard. Everything is ready for you, but let's go through it together to make sure that we understand how the course is set up. Okay, so please use my email when you want to reach out to me. Don't use Blackboard. The messages sometimes get lost and I don't get the notifications often. I will have two office hours, or two periods of office hours. First are in-person office hours on Tuesdays in my office at E2538. I will also hold open office hours online Fridays from 10 to 12. Now, office hours are for anything related to the class or even beyond that. So for class, if you have questions and want to just chat with me, even basic questions like, I don't understand what you mean by this on the syllabus, or can we talk about how to prepare for my discussion posts, or anything, or even like material wise, can you help me understand what Marx means by, class consciousness? All of these things are perfectly fine. It's just a time for you with no judgment to come in, ask questions, get advice, and make sure you're able to do the best work that you can in the class. Okay. So what is the course? The course is essentially helping us look at how we understand the world and why it matters. So often people run away from theory. They think it's useless, but I am setting up the course to argue that the way that the world is created is based on the theories that people have, and the way that they want to mold the world. So how we think about the world matters because it helps us direct our actions. Okay. Now, we won't be able to investigate every social theory that's ever been created in the world, even every social theory that every sociologist or anthropologist has made. So I've had to be selective. I pared it down so that we would have less reading and less concepts to cover, and give us more time to dig a little deeper into each person. But if there's a concept or a aspect of social theory that you want to cover, let me know and maybe we can add it in, or you can do it as one of your mini assignments. So for example, if you're interested in how sociologists look at emotion or how sociologists look at science, those are things we don't technically cover in this course, in depth. So please feel free to ask me and say, I'm interested in this. Can you send me some resources? And I'll use that for my mini projects. Okay. Now, note that this is an upper class course. It's a 4,400 level. So generally they ask you to have taken at least 2 courses in ANSO, so either Anthro, Sociology, or ANSO at the 3,000 or 4,000 level. If that's not the case, please reach out to me and let's make sure that this class is the best fit for you. Okay, what are the outcomes? So these are the course outcomes I expect that you all will get out of completing the course. I expect that you'll understand the history of social theories and how they've developed, that you can classify and explain the social theories, that you'll be able to compare them and how they each describe our social world, including the self, formation of groups, creation of organizations, institutions, and the influence of structures of power. You'll be able to see how they shaped the social material world and evaluate how leaders of social change have used a theory of the social world to enact change, and then develop writing and presentation skills. If you have been in my other classes before, which I know many of you have, you know that I try to be as patient and flexible because I know that your life is chaotic, especially within the last 2 to 3 years. I only ask that you're good communicators with me, and then I will do everything I can to be flexible with you. So please let me know if there's anything in your life that is impacting your work here or that you just want to chat about, and that way I can help work with you to make sure that you still succeed in the class. I don't want anyone falling by the wayside, but I can't help if I don't know what's going on. You don't have to tell me every detail, but just keep me up to date if there's anything that's going to be affecting your studies. I've made this class completely free. There will be no textbook to buy. But there will be a little bit of work you need to do. Because this is an upper class course, I'm not going to be providing all of the materials on Blackboard. I expect you to be able to use the GSU library to find the textbooks and use them. They are all online, so you do not need to go into GSU to get them, but you will need to become familiar with the GSU library. So these are some of the books that we will be using that you can access on the GSU library. I have a guide already up on Blackboard that shows you how to find, how to select, and how to access the books on GSU Library, and I highly recommend that you go through and you save them. If you log into your GSU Library account, you can click on the little thumbnail of the book, and it will save it in a little favorites file on your GSU Library account, and that way once you can go through, find all of these, favorite them, and then when it's time for you to read them on the week of class, you can simply go to your favorites and click on them, and it will take you right to the book. There's also a couple of articles that we'll be looking at, and then a few open source texts that just you need the link, and it is all available for free online. Okay, so this is the list of books that we'll be using, but you'll see everything below in by each week and by each section. Okay. So the assignments, I know this is everyone's most interested part because they want to know what they have to do to pass the class. Here are the assessments that we'll go through in the class. So first, section quizzes. So I have organized the class by sections. That doesn't always line up by week. So just be aware as we go through the syllabus schedule to make note of that. But at the end of every section, there will be a quiz that you will need to be done. These are open book, open notes, and I encourage you to work with each other. They are also, I've put the quiz questions in the reading guide so that as you're reading, you can find it directly what the question is referring to. And then just go to the quiz on Blackboard and you can put in all the answers that you found. Every section has a series of discussions that you need to be participating in. Because there's no classes, this is going to be the main way that we create a class-like environment. So it's required that you are interacting with each other. And so I have created as if, so for the first couple sections, they are about 1.5 weeks long, which is about 3 class periods. The second um, half of the course, there are two, they're about week-long sections, which means they're about 2 parts or 2 class periods. So I've created it so that when it's a section that has that would be 3 class periods, I have you making 3 posts. And when it's a section that's only 2 class periods, so part 2 of the course, I make it so that you have to do 2 posts. Okay, so in part 1, this should say discussion post and discussion response. So in part 1, the 3 types of posts you'll have to make is one that is providing a quote from the reading and giving an explanation, and you'll have to explain it in 1 to 2 paragraphs. And then post 2 is providing a question that you have about the reading. So what is confusing? How do you understand this? Get help from the class in whatever question you have. Then post 3 is comparing and contrasting 2 theorists. Now the response is post 1, you'll be helping them develop the explanation, giving them extra ideas for what that quote is trying to say. You'll have to respond to the question that someone has as if you're answering from the theorist's perspective. Try to take on how they understand the world and answer it from their perspective. And then post 3, you're going to add another theory to compare and contrast. So this is the way that we're going to be interacting with each other and making sure that there is some, a kind of, we're in this together, we're trying to understand this together, and I will also be participating in these discussions. Third, there will be a group Google Doc, and or you can use the wiki function on Blackboard, but I have created for you a table and a Google Doc that shows how to categorize the different ways these theorists are set up. And you will find quotations that demonstrate a theorist's perspective. You'll describe what that means. And then that way your group has this Google Doc that they can then use for any essay, for the exams, just so that you have a really great guide to how the theorist is thinking about the social world. I am asking you all to meet with your group every 2 weeks for at least an hour, or every 2 sections. That will be up to you on how you do it, whether it's through a chat, whether it's on video, whether it's in person, whether it's on the phone. But hopefully this Google Doc will then give you an idea of what you need to talk about to help understand how each one is done, ask each other questions. Okay, I will not be making sure that you are meeting. I will be making, however, you will be letting me know who has been participating and what work they've been doing. I will show you that in the next video, which oversees how Blackboard works. Student choice essays, there's 3 of these for 3 class sections, and I'll explain what that means in a second. You will choose from a list of readings that expound, critique, or engage with the material that we have previously read of the past couple sections. So you will choose a topic, you will choose a reading of your choice, something that you're interested in. You'll read that and then compare it to something we've read in class. There's a list of potential readings for you already, both at the end of the syllabus and on Blackboard. If you want to, like I said, if you want to read something more aligned with your interests, just let me know what your interests are and I will help you search for something that's appropriate. There will be a final exam. It's going to be open book and open notes. I will be utilizing the quiz questions throughout the course for the multiple choice. So the quizzes should hopefully help you prepare for the final exams. And there will be a couple of short answer or short essay questions. And then finally, for those who want to get an A in the course, you will be participating in what is called the Theory to Social Change Project, in which you will choose an important leader of the cultural, political, or social world. You will find their readings or their speeches or some other way to analyze how they thought about the world. I know that some people might choose singers or artists. You will want to then collect their screenplays or their lyrics or something. And then throughout the course, you will be looking at what is their worldview, how do they think the world works, and what effect did they have on the world. And then at the end of the class, you will be presenting this to the other students. Okay, my grading. Those of you who aren't familiar with my grading system, I do not grade based on percentages or whether or not you have fulfilled a whole number of points, etc. Instead, each assignment you have to demonstrate whether or not you are competent in the objectives of that assignment. If you do not demonstrate competency, you will receive a score that means revise and resubmit, in which case you don't fail the assignment, you simply need to rework it, revise it, and show me that you are competent at that skill or that understanding. So no grade in the class is technically final unless you do not want to revise. So if you ever get a revise to resubmit, that does not mean you got a 0 on the assignment. It simply means you need to take it back, read my comments, and improve and make it better, and then resubmit it, and you will get full points if you resubmit it and it demonstrates competency. Unfortunately, Blackboard doesn't have a great way of just demonstrating whether you demonstrated competency on an assignment or if you need to revise. And so on Blackboard grading, if you get a 1, that means you have reached the threshold, you've submitted really good work that demonstrates competency, and you have a 1 on that assignment. If you get a 0, that simply means you need to revise and resubmit. It does not mean you failed. Just look at my comments, see what you need to do, and then you can resubmit it at a later date once you've improved it and addressed my feedback. Okay, so how the grading then works. Here is a table that shows you exactly what you need to do to get any of the grades for this class. So first, what you'll see that these columns are all of the assignments, and then you see that the rows are the grade levels. Okay, so for someone who wants to D, you just follow this line and you will look at exactly what you need to do to get a D in the class. You will need to have completed all of the quizzes, but need an 80% average. You will need to complete all of the discussion posts, and you will need to get a 75% on the final. But you will not have to participate in the groups, you will not have to do the student choice essays, and you will not have to complete the final project. For someone who wants to C, you will need to get a 90% average on all of the quizzes. And remember, that means you will be able to resubmit the quizzes if you're missing questions. You will need to complete all of the weekly posts and responses and get an 80% on the final, and finish the 5 Google Doc group work. For those who want to B, you will only need to complete 8 out of 10 of the quizzes, but you won't need to, it does not matter what the score is on them, because you will be proving your understanding through other assignments. I also lower the workload for the discussion board to make sure that you are able to focus on other assignments if you are bogged down. So if you're going for a B and you need to skip 1.5 weeks of discussion boards, that is given, you have that possibility, okay? You need to get an 85% on the final though, so you will have a higher threshold to meet. You will need to do all the group work, and you will need to you need to demonstrate competency on every student choice essay. That means you'll have to do 3 of them. For those going for an A, again, you have a little bit lower requirement for the quizzes because I want you focused on your higher level assignments. You do have a little bit more leeway on the discussion boards. So you will need to focus on the exam. You need 85%. You need to do the group work. You will only need to do 2 of the 3 student choice essays. And then you will need to do the final presentation, the final project. Okay? If you have questions about this, let me know. Essentially, when you are looking at a grade, let's say you've got a little bit of a busy semester, so you think you're not going to be able to put all the time into this class, and you're like, okay, I'll shoot for a B. Then you just look at this row and make sure for each of these that you've done 8 out of 10 of the quizzes, you've done 22 out of 27 weekly responses and posts, you got 85% on the exam, you've done the groups, and you've done the student choice essays. And that, if you have demonstrated competency in all of those boxes, great, you are ready to go. Okay, so just as a quick review of what a demonstrate competency is. So instead of you doing every single essay and every single assignment and me giving you points and then adding them up and seeing where you fall, every assignment is judged to a fairly high standard. So think about it in terms of 80% or better is what demonstrates competency. So if you write a student choice essay and it just is okay, but there are, if I had graded it with a point system, maybe it had gotten a 75%, I would ask you to revise and resubmit to make sure that you're turning in excellent assignments every single time. I have detailed rubrics and explanations for how to do things, and so you should know exactly what to do to demonstrate competency. However, if you ever have a question, please let me know. But again, if you submit a student choice essay, you get a revise and resubmit. All you have to do is revise it and resubmit, and you will still get credit for it. So never feel like a revise and resubmit is you being unable to complete the course, right? Always come and see me if you're concerned, and we will work out a way to get you through the course with good standing. Late work. I really don't mind when you turn in the assignments. However, I can't keep following people around and like, hey, where is the assignment? Where is the assignment? So my late work policy is pretty simple. If you know you're going to be late on an assignment, let's say you know that you have a soccer match, or you work 50 hours one week, or your child is having trouble at school, and so you know for the next 2 weeks it's going to be pretty busy, just email me and tell me, hey, I know that these assignments are due in the next 2 weeks. This is a really hard week for me. I will get them done in week 5. That's fine. You are taking control of your schedule, and I appreciate that. And you let me know when something was going on, and you can turn in late work if you're letting me know before something is due. If instead in week 5 you emailed me and said, I'm sorry I didn't get week 2 stuff done, I was really busy, do you mind if I turn it in later? That I'm not going to accept, because I need you to be proactive in letting me know. So as long as you email me before something is due, letting me know it's going to be late, you can turn in however late you need it to be. Exceptions are emergencies. For example, funerals, sicknesses. If something comes up, just as soon as you're able, email me and say, hey, this thing came up. I was not able to reach out to you. What can I do to make it up? We'll work on a schedule or something to make sure that you come back on track. Okay. But if it was simply, I forgot to email you beforehand, I'm not going to be able to accept late work. Okay. I'll let you read through the FAQs, which kind of help you figure out various scenarios of the grading system, but let's get into the assignment schedule. So as I said, I have organized it into sections rather than weeks, but I have tried to split up the sections as if we were meeting every Tuesday, Thursday. Okay, so imagine that this was an in-person class 2 times a week. I have provided readings for the Tuesday fake class, the Thursday class, the Tuesday class again. All the assignments are due at the end of that, but I wanted to help break up the readings of this section in a way that kind of makes intuitive sense. So you don't have to do the readings on these dates, but I've broken them up for you to give you kind of a easier schedule. If I was taking this class, I would try to stay on this reading schedule, okay? And then I would complete the discussion posts as they come up, and I would keep open the quiz and answer the questions as they come up in my readings. But that's how the course is set up. So each section, I have the dates here. I've split it up into as if we were doing twice a week classes. So for January 18th, you would read the German ideology. For January 20th, that's the Thursday, you would read and watch What is Capitalism for Marx? What is alienation, and then for January 25th, you would read the Communist Manifesto. Okay, I provide page numbers, approximates, because some of them are videos, and some of them don't have page numbers, so I had to estimate to help you kind of gauge. But I have tried to keep it around 50 pages per week, which is actually pretty low for a 4,000 level course. So hopefully that gives you more time to sit down with the readings and actually work through them and try to understand them. So the second person that we're looking through is Max Weber. He is a German sociologist of the 1800s. You'll be reading from Kahlberg's book that has some writings from Weber as well as some explanations. If you see something like Kahlberg that doesn't have a link, you will want to scroll up to the readings. And you'll see here, for some reason he's not on there. Oh, here it is, Weber and Kahlberg. This is the book. So you will need to go to GSU's website and download, or go to their GSU library and find the project, or find the book. Okay, so second is Weber. You'll notice here that for those doing the final project, I do require that you let me know who the leader is, and that is step one. You have your Weber quiz due on the last day. You also should have met at least once with your group. Third theorist we're going to review is Du Bois. We are going to look at one of the first sociological pieces he actually published in a academic news journal. Then we are going to read from The Souls of Black Folk and his book Black Reconstruction. We'll do quite a bit of Black Reconstruction, actually. It is one of his foundational works. At the end of section 3 is when we see our first Choose Your Own Theorist. So at the end of this schedule and on Blackboard, I have a list of readings that you will, on that, I would suggest on the 17th, you read that chapter or you read that article, and then you will compare it to either Du Bois, Weber, or Marx. And then the essay. Think of these essays mostly as brainstorming. I won't be looking at to make sure that you have like perfect sentences or that it's really well polished, but mostly that you're actually engaging with the theorists and trying to better understand them. I have rubrics and explanations on Blackboard. For so after the Choose Your Own Theorist, we will move into Durkheim, who is often called the father of sociology. We will be looking at how he imagines social facts and what sociology is for Durkheim. We will be looking at how he understands religion and society to be created, which is one of the foundational pieces for anthropology. And then we will be looking at how he sees the connection of society and the individual. Then section 5, we will be looking at 3 important social thinkers from this same time period in the US, Cooper, Wells, and Adams. So Anna Julia Cooper was the 4th African-American woman to receive a PhD. She wrote a very well received book called A Voice from the South, in which we will look at a couple of her chapters on the intersection of gender, religion, race, politics, and class. Ida B. Wells wasn't technically a sociologist, but she was a social theorist and investigator. We will be reading some excerpts from her book, The Red Record. And then I highly recommend that people look through Jane Addams' Whole House Maps and Papers. Jane Addams received the Nobel Prize for her work. She was a very practical sociologist in that she actually used her sociological understandings to make a difference in the world around her, which is something that unfortunately we don't see as much because sociology has become very academic, but it provides a great framework for any of you who want to be involved in community organization. After the spring break, we move into part 2. So first we start with Pierre Bourdieu, who's a French sociologist and anthropologist who passed away within the last 15 years, so he's more contemporary. We'll be looking at his work on fields, habitus, and capital. After this, that is the next choose your own theorist. So again, you will look through the theorists or the list of readings I prepared, and then you will compare them to Bourdieu, Cooper, Wells, Adams, or Durkheim. Next, we go to Foucault. Foucault was a very important philosopher that most social science disciplines use today in understanding power. And we will look at how he understands power, both in three ways. First, in how society has constructed the category of madness, how they've constructed crime and punishment, and finally, in how sexuality has been constructed as well. Again, this is a book that you'll be reading on the GSU website. After Foucault, we will look at Patricia Hill Collins, who wrote Black Feminist Thought. We will be investigating how she understands power in the matrix of domination. You will also pick a chapter of your own interest in that book and read it and comment on it in the class discussions. Then our second to last section is on world systems. So this is specifically borrowing from Wallerstein, Emmanuel Wallerstein, who really goes macro and talks about issues of global economy, global systems like imperialism. And I am still trying to find a really good source that helps define colonialism, neocolonialism, and imperialism. And what I will update the syllabus and put it on Blackboard as well. But that is looking at really macro level systems and analyses. And then our final week is looking, these are more political scientists, but they're very influential in what we're talking about in sociology. Wendy Brown and Nancy Fraser. I really wish I could assign both of them. It should be recommended. So the first, we will be reading from Wendy Brown's book, In the Ruins of Neoliberalism. First, we will be reading about what is the theory of neoliberalism, how it was constructed, and then we will be reading a chapter on the consequences of neoliberalism and what that is. Finally, is our last Choose Your Own Theorist, in which you will choose, again, from a list of readings, and you will compare it to Wendy Brown, Nancy Fraser, The World Systems, Patricia Hill Collins, or Michael Foucault. That is the last week of content. You will notice that the final week is up for you to post any or to catch up on anything that you might have been putting off or that you needed late work on. But the final exam or the final projects, it should be saying here, the final projects, oh, here it is. The final project is due May 1st. So it's a week before the semester ends, because during this final week, people will be, instead of reading extra material, they will be watching or reading your final projects and posting comments to them, okay? So note that our final project is actually due a little earlier than usual. Here are the reading lists. All of these, everything is either freely available on the internet or through Governor State University Library. I have quite a bit of options, but again, feel free to email me if you have questions or want something else. At the end of the syllabus, I list some support that you can get if you have issues with technology. This is all online. You will be using the online library catalog quite a bit, so you need pretty decent internet. So either at a library, or if you have internet at home, or if you need to come to GSU, whatever works. If you don't have a computer, you can get a student laptop loaner. Please go to this website or email the IT department at Governor State. If you have academic support that you need, I have listed a bunch of different resources from the library to Governor State University's STAR, which can connect you with academic advisors, as well as the writing program. I highly, highly recommend you use the Writing Center on all of your papers, even the brainstorm choose your own theorist papers. Also, I'm very invested in making sure that everyone is healthy and well. So I have resources for the Counseling Center and GSU for You. If you are struggling in any way and don't know where to turn, please feel free to reach out to me and I will help you connect with the resources that can make sure that you're on better footing. Finally, please read through the course and university policies once you download the syllabus on Blackboard. Make sure you understand, because I will be abiding by all of these: academic honesty, Title IX, etc. And if there's any infractions, I will take action. Lastly, COVID policies of spring 2022. Make sure that you're up to date on what the state and cities are requiring. On Governor State University, you are required to wear a mask if you're on campus. And if you are coming to campus to meet with me, you must be vaccinated. People who are engaging in in-person activities on campus have to be vaccinated according to Governor State and state law. Okay, so that is the syllabus. I wanted to show you one more thing before we go, and that is how all of the assignments and projects are contributing to you fulfilling the objectives in this course. So we're going to start with the content and reading guides that will help you learn all of the content, concepts, theories, ideas in the course. That's going to be the main way that you engage with the material. But to help you kind of start understanding and applying, we have the 3 different assignments. First, the section quizzes, which are just going to be helping you confirm basic understanding. Again, you can revise and resubmit any of these that you don't do well on. The discussion forums, which will be helping you ask questions and practice any applications of the theories. And then the group assignments, which is giving you a place to gather, discuss, and classify the theorists and the materials that we are using. These all will help you in the Choose Your Own Theorist essays, which are a practice of independent review of the theories and providing independent explanations and comparisons. You will use everything that you've done before then to kind of build up and submit your own essay. Then we have the final exam, which will solidify that you do have competency and basic understanding. Remember, this is going to be pulled largely from the quizzes. It should not be too difficult. And then the final project, I should just say final project, is demonstrating competency on independent theoretical analysis and an in-depth investigation and research. So this is really the one that shows that you are a competent social theorist of your own weight. And so for whoever is, remember, this is only for people going for an A, is completing this final project. If you do not have the time or want to focus on other things, you don't have to do the final project, and you can stick with doing the theorist essays, final exam, and the group assignments and quizzes. Okay? So the next video that you will see will be about walking through the Blackboard website, showing you where everything is, making sure that you can navigate it. But otherwise, I'm looking forward to a great course. Feel free to meet with me as often as you want or need. And I look forward to engaging with you all on this project. Have a great semester.